Hello everyone, I'm Brian, welcome back. Let's go ahead and continue.
So this is uh, the teaching. Now let us quickly look at the words. Now it will make sense. Sarvam ekam idam shantam. Please repeat. Sarvam ekam idam shantam. Adi madhyanta varjitam. Adi madhyanta varjitam. Bhava bhava vinirmuktam. Bhava bhava vinirmuktam. Iti gyatva sukhi bhava. Iti gyatva sukhi bhava. Sarvam ekam idam. All of this, all these waves, big, small, bubbles, foam, all of them are one reality, water. All the pottery in pottery barn are one reality, clay. And everything in life, every experience you have, whether you're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, remembering, feeling, thinking, understanding, whether you're doing art or science or nothing, all of that is one homogeneous consciousness. At this point, rock intellect will say, so? You are that. When you are that, you can't say so anymore. I'm talking about you. You are that one consciousness. The entirety of the universe is the sarvam ekam idam. Idam sarvam ekam. It's all one consciousness. Tsunami wave, little wave. Is it right to say it is all one water? True, no doubt about it. Variety of shapes and colors of pots all made from one lump of clay. Is it not the same thing? It's the same thing. It is the same consciousness. No matter what you experience, whoever it is, whatever it is you, the consciousness. Sarvam ekam. Not only that, shantam. Just as birth and death is not there in water. Wave is born and wave dies. But birth and death is not there in water. Contempt and superiority and rivalry is there between the little waves, but not there as water. It's all the same. Similarly, all sorrows, all samsara problems, shantam. When forever, in the midst of poverty, in the midst of ill health, in the midst of loneliness, in the midst of struggle in life, tensions throughout the day, shantam. As consciousness, take a look. One sadhu used to say so beautifully, दिन में एक बार देख लो महात्मा जी वस्तु कैसी है. Take a look once in a day at least. Oh monk, take a look at least once in a day. Take a look at the reality. Take a look at yourself. How will I take a look? Mirror. This book, mirror. Vedanta is the mirror. Take a look at yourself. Sarvam ekam idam shantam. Where is the problem? In the world, any number of problems never will be solved. You can make it, with hard work, you can make it little better for a while. It will again deteriorate. Guaranteed. But as far as you are concerned, you're perfectly all right. Being perfectly all right, you work for improving the pot. Give it a little new coat of paint and mend the cracks, fine. But you know yourself to be the clay. Adi madhyanta varjitam. In consciousness. Yes, in the body there is birth, there is youth, there is teenage, there is middle age, old age, death. In consciousness, is there birth? Is consciousness born? Is consciousness middle-aged? Is consciousness getting overweight? Does consciousness have diabetes? No. Impossible. Ridiculous. You are laughing. Yes. You should laugh. At the same time, body will get all that. The same Swami Turiyananda, when he was a youngster, he goes to Sri Ramakrishna, who was dying of throat cancer, and asks him, "Sir, how are you today?" Sri Ramakrishna says, "Oh, it hurts. I cannot eat." And Turiyanandaji was Hari. His name was Hari. He says, "Sir, I see that you are in great bliss." It's a cruel thing to say to a terminal cancer patient. But Sri Ramakrishna accepts it. He laughs and he says, "Oh, the rascal has found me out." Shala dhore niyat. In Bengali he said, "The rascal has found me out." He has understood. How can the same bliss is possible for each one of us? It's readily available to each one of us in the midst of our problems. See yourself as this consciousness which is neither an effect nor a cause. Karya karana vilakshana atma, panchakosha vilakshana atma, avasthatraya sakshi atma. The consciousness, you the consciousness beyond cause and effect. You the consciousness distinct from the five koshas. Five koshas, the five layers of the human. Somebody told me a nice joke, as which a Swami told the rabbi. What was the joke? Rabbi, the Atma, Vedanta Atma is not kosher. Now I have a rabbi visiting next week, I'll tell him the joke. Panchakosha Vilakshana Atma, the witness of the five koshas. And that's kosher, not kosher. Kosher means the sheath, body, prana, mind and all that. Panchakosha. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Avasthatraya Sakshi Atma, witness of the waking, dreaming, deep sleep. You the consciousness. Are you not the witness, the experiencer of your waking, dreaming? Who else is? That consciousness we are talking about right here, right now. Bhava Bhava Vinirmukta. There is no pot in the clay, even when you are actually holding the pot and using it. Where is this is a Buddhist argument. Chandrakirti is called Chandrakirti's chariot. Chandrakirti says, where is the chariot? Are the parts of the chariot the chariot? No. Is it something apart from the parts of the chariot? No. Is it in the parts of the chariot like the water is in the bottle? Like that, is there a parts and in that there is one chariot? No. Are the parts of the chariot in the chariot? Where is the chariot? Similarly, bhava bhava vinirmukta, bhava, existing things. In consciousness, where are existing things? Where is the universe in consciousness? Whatever you point out in the pot, here is the pot, you're touching the clay. This wooden table. Touch wood. I don't say touch table, because all of it is wood. Similarly, in consciousness, in you the consciousness, where is the universe? Where is the body? Where is the mind?
So I was going to say, well, again, a chariot, table, all these things are form and function. So, for example, again, the chariot, it's not any individual pieces, but it's a combination of pieces put together in a very specific way. But the whole point of it is, just in case anyone's confused like I was, is the fact that you have to understand that it's a form and function, and that the reality of the chariot is it's made out of wood. But I guess we have to make kind of that distinction of form and function and reality. Or form and function and what it's made out of. The distinction there. Because I remember earlier on in watching these videos, I had that same issues, like, the form and function of something versus what it's made out of. There's a clear distinction there, but I don't understand why you're saying one thing when we understand that a pot, well, can be made out of metal, can be made out of wood, can be made out of clay. But your distinction is clay itself and the fact that the shape of it. But I guess the thing that that if anyone understands it like I do, which is a little, I won't say too logical, but missing some information, is the point, how do I say, we have to distinguish between form and function and what it's created out of. And when you have a pot, you're not looking for the form and function of it, but what it's made out of. For me, whenever you say pot, you don't necessarily look at what it's made out of. You look at form and function. So when you say, what's the reality of the pot? It's like, well, it's the shape and form and function of it, not necessarily what it's made out of. I hope that kind of clears some things up if anyone thought like that, like I did. I still need to formulate the answer appropriately so that it's clearer. Again, I am thinking on the spot here and trying to articulate what's on my mind. So when we say like a pen, that's form and function. The reality, it's made out of plastic and ink and maybe metal. The little that little tip end, even though you probably can't see it. There you go. You can see that little tip end right there. Gone. Well, kinda. Yeah. So the little tip end's metal. So the reality of the pen, in terms of the material world, is plastic. It's metal and ink. Pretty bad example because there's multiple parts to it. But let's assume it's all made out of plastic. Then the reality is made out of plastic. Pen is the form and function, how it's designed, the way it looks, and its function of what it's used for.
He will say later on, the body is nothing but pure consciousness. See, we started by differentiating not the body, not the mind, pure consciousness. Then we say everything is pure consciousness. It's all one consciousness. But no body was ever born in pure consciousness, just like no pot was ever born. No wave was ever born in water. You have to think in which sense. No part of the water ever became wave. Which part of the water is the wave? Is it the top of the water, the bottom of the water, the side of the water? Which part is wave? The whole of it? You take it in a jar, will it be a wave? No. It's a name and a form and a function, activity. That's what we. So that's similarly, bhava bhava. No entity, no living being, non-living thing was ever born or created in consciousness. None ever died and is missed and is in the cemetery in consciousness. Consciousness is not the cemetery where everybody died and merged back. No. It's not born, did not die.
I guess that's kind of interesting. We always think of external things so far, form and function, like the pen, right? But then, I don't know if anyone, I mean, I'm sure many people have, but I haven't, which is okay, form and function. Hand, form and function. What is it made out of? My, my, my face, form and function. But what is it made out of? And I guess this is kind of I'm sure plenty of people have. I never thought to, like, oh, form and function, and then to say that about myself or this body, to form and function. Obviously, we have arms and fingers for form and function. We have arms to kind of extend the hand so that's not like T-Rex. We have eyes, form and function, to see, mouth to eat, teeth to chew, tongue to taste. All these are form and functions. What is it made out of? It's not made out of you. Well, let me just put it that way right now. For right now, or it's not made out of your true self. Even though yes and no. And what I mean by yes and no is that obviously, according to Advaita Vedanta, everything is consciousness. There's nothing that it's not. So therefore, this body is consciousness, which you are consciousness. So therefore, you are the body. But also not, because this is an illusion. The reality of this is in fact consciousness, but this is not you, which is weird to say, because if everything is consciousness, as in there's nothing that is not consciousness, and you are consciousness, so therefore you are everything. You are the pen. But yet to say that the pen is a maya, an illusion, it's really weird. To say that this is you, this is consciousness, this is reality, but this is fake, this is maya, this is an illusion. How can something be real and illusion at the same time? But I understand what they're trying to say. It's the fact that we think of this as something separate from consciousness, when in reality it's consciousness, because the only way we can experience things is with consciousness. Without consciousness, nothing can be experienced. So therefore, I believe, this is my belief, everything I say here is my belief, unless I say, Swami said it or whatever. But in order for us to experience something, it must be in consciousness. And what I mean by that, again, we go back to how I understand consciousness, where our consciousness is in our minds, and our touching, our seeing, our smelling, all those are electrical signals that go to our brain, and then in our brain it gets translated and it gets noticed by the consciousness, and it must manifest in consciousness for it to be aware. Because if you have no touch, it cannot manifest. That signal will not go. You won't get any. You won't be able to feel this. So that signal will not go up to your brain to manifest in consciousness. So therefore, for you, reality, there is no touch. There's no feeling. There's no texture in the world. If you have no smell, if you try to smell, it will not manifest in your consciousness because your receptors are gone for it. At least, again, for the individual consciousness, how I see things so far. Of course, Advaita Vedanta says everything is consciousness, nothing is not. And there is only one consciousness. All this individuality is a falsehood. My way of looking at things is that we have individual consciousness. Again, I'm not hard stuck on that. It's just that it seems very probable at the moment. Until I see otherwise, I'm sticking to that as mostly true. I do believe in consciousness. Now, whether it's one consciousness or individual consciousness, that's up for debate. Right now, individual consciousness seems to be practical in my mind. Again, outside of that difference in terms of Advaita Vedanta and my own way of thinking, everything else is the same. That we are consciousness. And the only way to experience things is through consciousness. Without consciousness, we cannot experience anything. But of course, per individual, how we experience the world is different because it depends on our senses. Some people can't touch anything, so therefore what they experience in their consciousness is limited to the other four senses. Again, I'm not trying to convert anyone. I'm just explaining how I think and how I understand Advaita Vedanta, and trying to put my perspective out there. So again, outside of where the consciousness is, whether we have an individual or just one big one, that's the only difference in my beliefs in terms of Advaita Vedanta. But I do still think along the lines of one consciousness for everything and the individual. But mostly in the one consciousness, just because I am watching Advaita Vedanta, and that's the way you're supposed to look at the perspective. But my mind looks at both all the time. That's how my mind works, including people who don't believe in the one consciousness thing. My mind looks at anything I watch that way too. Again, my mind looks at everything as much as possible. It's not confusing, no. It's not.
One of our Swamis was very exercised with the idea of we as Hindus and Buddhists and Jains and Sikhs, we believe in multiple births. Punarjanma in Hindi. But Muslims, Christians, and Jews, also atheists, one life. Of course, Muslim, Christians, and Jews believe in eternal life. After death, they'll be continued. But life in this world is only one. So which one is true? Ek janma ya bahujan, punarjanma. So he went to a great Advaitic master and asked him. He told me the story himself. So I went and asked that Swami, and he was very annoyed actually. So I went and asked that Swami, great teacher of Advaita Vedanta, so which is true? Many lives or one life? And that Swami answered, Arey Mahatma ji, jab janma hi nahi to punarjanma kahe ka aap mandukya padiye. Oh monk, when there is no birth, where is the question of rebirth? Not even one life is there. Why? What about many lives? Neither one life nor many lives, not one birth, not many births. Bhava bhava vinirmuktaha.
Because there is no birth, right?
There is no things which exist, nor is there any absence of things. There is only consciousness. Then, sukhi bhava. Sukhi bhava. Be happy. You don't have to do anything. Right now, wherever you are, whatever you are, and whatever it will be in the future, be happy. Whatever was in your past, whatever is in the future, is as nothing compared to what is within you right now. So, be happy. How? Iti jnatva. Here's the crucial thing. By the knowledge of this. Not by the chanting of this, not by the understanding of this. You must vividly, livingly feel, I am this consciousness. First of all, understand it beyond the slightest shred of doubt. Then stay with it, morning, evening, night, as I am this awareness. Use everything to reflect back to you. To me, the awareness, this is happening. This is appearing. And what is appearing is also nothing other than me, the awareness. Appearing in me, the awareness. Just like every wave is appearing in consciousness, in water. Every clay pot is born and exists and disappears in clay only. Similarly. Now he has given some wonderful verses which I will chant and interpret the meaning, which you will realize immediately. Now you all know it. You know that you are the clay. You know that you are pure consciousness. And few verses which Dhireshwanji has quoted here. These are all from Aparoksha Anubhuti. Upadanam prapanchasya brahmanonyana vidyate tasmat sarva prapanchoyam na chetarat. He says, yeah, it's in 54 at the bottom. These are just examples. They all say the same thing. Upadanam prapanchasya, the material of this prapancha, of this universe. What's the usual Vedantic answer for the material of the universe? It is space, air, fire, water. No. He says material of this universe is nothing other than Brahman, pure consciousness. It is consciousness alone. Here, everything is consciousness alone. Anyad na vidyate. There is nothing other than Brahman which can be the material of this universe. Tasmat sarva prapanchoyam na chetarat. This entire universe is nothing other than Brahman. Every bit of it is radiant with the presence of God. This universe. Ghatanamna yatha prithvi patanamna hi tantavaha jagadnamna chidabhati geyam tattadabhavataha. It is the thread which is called cloth. It is the clay which is called the pot. It is Brahman, pure consciousness, which is called world. By negation of the pot concept, you come to clay. By negation of the cloth concept, you come to the thread which is made of. By negation of the world concept, you come to Brahman, right here. Grihyamane ghate yadvad mittikayati vaibalat Dikshamane prapanchepi brahmeva bhati bhasuram. Really beautiful verse. What does it mean? Follow this carefully. When you experience a pot, you see a pot, you touch a pot, you hold a pot. What are you experiencing? Clay. How? Balat. By force, you cannot avoid it. It is clay only. You cannot avoid touching the clay, seeing the clay, because when you are touching or seeing a plot, it's clay only. When you're looking at the ocean, the wave, what are you in contact with? Water only. Similarly, he says, Vikshamane. Viksha here means upon inquiry with this knowledge. Prapanchobi, this universe, idam, this one. When you inquire with the eye of knowledge, Brahmaiva bhati bhasuram. What language? Brahman alone blazes forth. Bhasuram, like the sun shining. Brahman alone is blazing everywhere, here. All the time. Unmitigated, unaltered, undimmed. Brahmaiva bhati bhasuram. Brahman blazes forth in every experience of our life. That's why Vivekananda called it the open secret. Open secret. It's there. Once we see it for what it is, we'll think, how did we miss it ever? It was always there. And that's why it's effortless. That's why it's unbroken. Sarvopi vyavaharastu brahmana kriyate janaihi ajnana vijanati mideva hi ghatadikam. Everything that we do in life, we are doing with Brahman. Walk, talk, eat, fight, love, hate, everything. Wake, dream, sleep, everything. We're immersed in Brahman all the time. But we don't know it. Just like everything that you do with a pot, you're actually doing with clay. Put water in it, put milk in it, make it a flower pot, break it, it's clay alone. Then last one. So the question is, why did we start off? We could have said this at the very beginning. Why did we start off by not the body, not the mind, I'm the witness consciousness? So much effort was put into. I'm not the body, not the mind. Why? Because unless you discover pure consciousness for what it is, the next step to see everything as pure consciousness will not work. First, you must discover. You must separate the pot from the clay in your understanding. Then see the clay as it is, then realize the pot is nothing but clay. You must separate the water from the wave in your understanding. Then see the water for as it is, then you will see the wave, the ocean is nothing other than the water.
I was actually about to say that earlier, where we have to separate form and function versus the material that it's made out of. Because again, like I say, the pen, the pot, the wave is obviously the wave is a form and function of the water, but the reality is still water. But I was going to say there's another step that you have to take beyond that, which is going to see what is water and what is clay, and what the reality of those things are as well. So it's kind of stripping layers of how we understand the world to its basic, I don't know if you can say fundamental reality of what it is, or we strip objective reality to get to the absolute reality. And this is something Swami says. There's three of them. We have the subjective, objective, and absolute. Subjective is our own personal way of looking at life. Objective reality is what we all collectively see and understand. It's not based on a personal subjective reality. The absolute reality is what is everything made out of, in a sense. So once you separate the pot from the clay, then you have to separate the clay from the reality, which is consciousness.
You must separate awareness, existence awareness, bliss, from the world of names and forms and see it as it is, understand it as it is. You will see the universe as nothing but Satchidananda. So this verse, Yathaiva mrinmaya kumbha tadvaddehopi chinmaya atma atmanatma vibhagoyam atmanatma vibhagoyam mudhaiva kriyate budhaihi. So words, he has to make it poetry. Mudhaiva kriyate budhaihi. The wise make this difference between body, self and not self. What is the difference? The five koshas. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Not me, I am the witness. Waking, dreaming, sleep, not me, I am the witness of them. I am consciousness, ever shining. This difference, why do they make? Is it, Mudha means in vain? Is it in vain? Because ultimately the goal is oneness. So why are they making this distinction? He says, Yataiva mrinmaya kumbha dehopi tadvat chinmaya. In order to understand the clay is nothing, the pot is nothing but clay. You must first understand what clay is, apart from all concepts of pot. Similarly, in order to understand, the body is nothing but pure consciousness, chinmaya. See, dehopi chinmaya. You must first understand what chinmaya means, pervaded by consciousness. You must first understand what chit is. Then you will see the body is pure consciousness, mind is pure consciousness, the pancha kosha, then Atma will become kosher. The pancha kosha is nothing but pure consciousness. The entire universe is nothing but pure consciousness. But what is it? It's not a universe, it is pure consciousness alone, but appearing to itself as its object. This universe itself is pure consciousness. I'll end with just a single sentence. His Holiness, the Shankaracharya of Puri, Nishchalanda Saraswati, I heard on YouTube only, He was talking, and in a single sentence, he reduced the entire this universe to pure consciousness. Pure consciousness, chinmatra. Chinmatra. In one sentence. But it's the panoptic vision, a sweeping bird's eye, not bird's eye, eagle's eye vision of entire Indian philosophy. So what does he do? He starts with the world. You start with the pot, he starts with the world and ends with pure consciousness. Through a process of analysis in one sentence. I'll break it apart for you. The 7 stages. I've mentioned it earlier also. This is Jagat, world. Which world? This one. Whatever you're seeing, hearing, smelling, taste. Jagat. Step 1. Step 2. Panchabhuta Vilasa. This is the play of 5 elements. Or in modern scientific language, we might say it is time, space, matter, energy. We put together all of this. Number 3. What are these 5 elements? Maya Vilasa. They have all come from Maya. I'm not explaining. In Vedanta, they will say 5 elements have appeared from Maya. Maya Parinama, they will say. Maya Vilasa, the play of Maya or the expansion of Maya, the 5 elements. Number 4, what is Maya? It's nothing apart from Brahman. It is the power of Brahman. Chid Vilasa. It's the play of consciousness, not the play of Maya. What is it? World. We're talking about world. Play of consciousness, Chid Vilasa. At this stage is entire Kashmiri Shaivism. Chid Vilasa. In fact, the head of the Siddha Yoga is now Chid Vilasananda, the Swami. Chid Vilasa, the play of consciousness. But does consciousness play? You might say poetically, but actually, can it vibrate? Can it change? Can it play? No. Things appear in consciousness. That's what happens. We see that. How does consciousness do anything? Things are experienced in consciousness. That's all. This is called vivatta. Consciousness, things are appearing in consciousness. Consciousness is appearing as something. So, like a rope appearing as a snake. Chid vivatta, fifth stage. But if something is appearing as something else, if the rope is appearing as a snake, then that appearance snake, every bit of it must be the rope, must be pervaded by the rope. So sixth stage is chinmaya, pervaded by consciousness. It said, deho api chinmaya, the body is pervaded by consciousness. Everything here must be pervaded by consciousness. Sixth stage. But pervaded how? Is it like there's a hall, it's dark, switch on the light, light will pervade the hall. The hall existed without the light. But the switch on the light, light pervaded the hall. Or there's a hall, you put on incense, light the incense and the incense will pervade the hall. Is it like that? Or is it like this table and wood? Wood pervades the table, clay pervades the pot, water pervades the wave, which means the wave is nothing but water, pot is nothing but clay, this table is nothing but wood. Similarly, this world is nothing but consciousness. Seventh stage, chin matra, consciousness only. I'll repeat the seven stages quickly for you. Jagat, the world, start there. 1. Panchabhuta Vilasa, play of 5 elements. 2. Maya Vilasa, play of Maya. You have reduced it. You're using the term nothing but. Nothing but. One philosopher called it nothing buttery. A lot of nothing buttery. So nothing but Maya, the play of Maya. Then play of Maya is nothing but Chid Vilasa, the play of consciousness. That's where Kashmiri Shaivism, even Bhakti, Leela, the whole Leela of the world. But that things do not, consciousness doesn't play, things appear in consciousness. Chid Vivatta. Then the sixth stage is pervaded by consciousness, Chinmaya. And final stage is, what do you mean by pervaded? It is consciousness only, Chin Matra. What? This word. Chin Matra. The word Chin Matra, you will notice, we have ended where we began. If you remember the verse which we began with, the first verse, we can chant it and end. Dikkaladyanavachinna, Dikkaladyanavachinna, Anantachinmatra Murtaye, Anantachinmatra Murtaye, Swanubhutte Kamanaya, Swanubhutte Kamanaya, Namah Shantaya Tejase, Namah Shantaya Tejase. Unlimited by direction, space, time, object, limitless. What? Chinmatra. That word which we used with. Consciousness only, which is proved by your own experience. Which experience? All experience. Now would you not agree? Every experience proves that I am consciousness only. The world is consciousness only. I salute that serene radiance. Shantaya Tejase Namah. Which serene radiance? This. If you do not see it, this is the world. If you see it, it is Brahman, pure consciousness. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.
Okay. The Tranquil Nondual Brahman. I didn't really have too much to say, especially towards the end there. Again, outside of how I have to kind of, I have my perception, understand the perception of Advaita Vedanta as well. And like I said, the only difference I have is, where is consciousness? Well, one similar thing is that we all have consciousness, which is my belief in also Advaita Vedanta. But where it separates is that, so far as I can tell, I have my own consciousness, and every individual people have their consciousness as well. Whereas at Advaita Vedanta, there is only one consciousness that pervades all of us. But I guess that gets the question in terms of, okay, if we have our own individual consciousness, where does our consciousness come from? You got me there. I don't know. Again, it goes down to the materialistic thing, though. It's the fact that they say that the material world creates consciousness. Again, I don't know. That's the reason why I still have all those. I won't say all those beliefs, but I have all this understanding. What is true, I don't know. What seems to be true is the individual consciousness. but I don't know how true that is either. I don't know how it works. So, again, overall, do I believe that we have individual consciousness? Absolutely. Now, is it the one true consciousness pervading all of us? I don't know. Is it the material world creating this one consciousness? I don't know. All I know is that I have consciousness. I'm sure you guys have consciousness. That is without a doubt. The only question is whether the material world creates it or there's one Brahman consciousness that pervades all of us. That I don't know. Advaita Vedanta says there is that one. The scientists in the material world say it's made by the material world. What I say is we have our own individual consciousness. That seems very clear. Now, whether it's the one and all or the individual, I don't know. Again, I'll say I would not worry too much about that because whether it's the one true consciousness or the material world consciousness, that doesn't change the fact that you still are consciousness. I think perhaps focusing too strongly on where your consciousness come from may be irrelevant because it's not gonna improve your life whether it does. Let's say it does the material. So let's say that the scientist is true about the material realm creating your consciousness. Well, that doesn't change the fact that you're still pure consciousness. It still proves the fact that you're not the body and perhaps not you're not the brain. Let me put it that way. Because amazingly, there's a YouTube video that shows that there's this disease of the brain that happens in a child. I forgot what it's called, but they're born with only like 12% of their brain. And the child survived, and I think the brain did end up growing a little bit, but clearly they were conscious. So again, where did that consciousness come from? I don't know. Um, but again, I don't think it's something that you necessarily need to worry about. Because the most important thing, at least as far as I can tell, is that you need to realize your true self, which is consciousness, and and reduce suffering. At the very least, I say reduce suffering. Obviously, you want to be, you don't want to suffer. And again, the question goes to the fact that when you look at Swami Vivekananda, where he still suffers, even though he's considered to be enlightened. So what does that say for the rest of us if an enlightened being still suffers from the world? He cries whenever he sees, terrible things that happen in the world. When he sees people suffer, you know. What does that mean for the rest of us if he still suffers? Can we end our suffering? So my goal, like I said a few times before, that it's the reduction of suffering. When when you can hopefully understand things in the world, you will reduce your suffering. It's not to say that it'll completely remove it. I don't think I've ever said my goal is to end suffering. No, that's a bit unrealistic. But to reduce suffering, I think that's very viable. So, and I've explained. I don't know if I explained in the last video or not about how when you look at failures, don't suffer from them. It's situational, of course, but majority of failures you can look at it as a learning experience. If you can change that suffering to a learning experience, you will one eliminate the suffering, and two improve upon yourself. So I don't know. I've been thinking about creating a membership video program only, but it's not going to it's not going to deal with reactionary videos, but it's more of my personal input. Um, and it's things that it's related to this, but more of my personal thoughts and thinking and whatnot. And those things I already throw out in the video anyway, so I'm just going to be repeating them, but it's a bit more focused video. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I've been meaning to, been wanting to, but I don't know. And like I said before, anything that I say in those members only video, if I start it, it's already been said in this videos. It's just a matter of whether you watched it or not. Whether you skipped around or maybe don't watch certain videos that they happen to come up in. Anyways, that's my reaction to Tranquil, Non-Dual Brahman. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up the sound down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.